Welcome to the Curiosity Couch podcast. I'm Erin and I'm super excited to have you join me on this journey of exploration and discovery. This podcast is all about diving deep into the questions that spark our imagination and ignite our curiosity. Each week we will challenge our perspectives on different topics and uncover new ideas to educate and inspire all of you nosy Noras out there. I'll be inviting guests from every walk of life and engaging in conversations to inspire us all to see the world from new angles. My goal is for us all to learn something new together. So get yourselves comfy, grab yourself a cup of tea and let your curiosity lead the way.
I went under the back wheel of the actual cab and the front two wheels of the actual Arctic Trail itself. The lower part of my left leg below the knee had completely severed.
There's not many people that have survived something like that.
But you won't get any movement in that ever again. But I did the rehab myself. Go home, it's about 10:30. I got into bed and then I came round at 11:30 being worked on by paramedics. I'd suffered a 15-minute grand mal nocturnal seizure. Unfortunately, on your scan, we've discovered a large mass in your glioma of your brain. I believe you've got a brain tumour.
Oh my God.
At my next scan, I walked in, walnut-sized black mass on the midline of my brain. Nothing to do with astrocytes.
Oh.
So it was a second one. It's a glioblastoma, IDH1 wild type. It's the world's most aggressive, deadliest tumour. It's 12 months with treatment, 18 months without. No. Mine's that aggressive that it was 6 months with treatment or 3 months without.
Hi guys, I hope everybody is doing okay and looking forward to another episode of the Curiosity Couch. On today's episode, we invited a truly inspirational and amazing man, Dave Bolton. He is the founder of Ahead of the Game Foundation, and he talks to us about his truly unique journey through life, from going from a young, fit and active young man to having a near-death experience in a fatal motorbike accident, which led to professionals telling him that he would never walk again. He then went on to become a kickbox champion, only to then have another setback and be told that he had a rare brain tumour and got given the prognosis of 3 months left to live. He sits here with us today, nearly 10 years on after that prognosis, to tell his amazing story. I really hope you enjoy this episode of the Curiosity Couch, and if you do, please remember to like, follow, subscribe and share this podcast so we can keep creating more episodes like this and get more exciting guests on in the future. Enjoy! Okay, so Dave, I kind of want to take it like right back to the beginning, like when you were in school, whatever like happened kind of like after school and what impacted your life from the beginning of your story.
Well, in school, I was that annoying kid who was good at all sports.
Yeah.
And I mean all sports. When I was in Germany, so I was born in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, RAF Vegberg. Mum and dad were in the forces. Yeah,
Oh
both
my
in the
God.
RAF, they met in the forces, and I lived in Germany, so I was born in Germany.
Yeah.
At the age of 7, I was picked up for being very good at sprinting. And whilst I was in Germany, I was the first person from a primary school, well, it's an infant school, and I was racing people who were in secondary schools, and I was winning. And I was the first.
Oh, wow.
I was the first person who was in an infant school to lift the British Forces Championship trophy because I won everything. But I didn't know what to do, so I got to the top of this thing, and everyone was looking, and I got the trophy and just walked off.
Oh
and
my
it was like, why didn't you
God.
hold up? So I was a sprinter, 100, 200, and I could run the third leg of a 4x100 metre relay like anyone else.
And how old were you then?
I was 7, 8.
Oh, wow.
Come back to this country, and I was running for Wirral Athletics, and I was given an award for twice in a year in a row for most likely and most improved. And from the ages of, I'd say, 9 to 13, I never lost a race. I was running on
Really?
Don Valley Stadium, Sheffield, you name it, I raced in it. And when I moved up to the Colts, I didn't understand. It was a bit of a thing. I was training Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and I'd be racing on Sundays. But with that as well, I was doing the javelin, I was doing the hurdles, I loved sport.
That's total opposite to me. I was always ill on sports day.
I loved it. And when we stepped up into the Colts, so I was still racing, but I didn't really, no one had told me that I was racing people who were 17 and 16. I was coming third, I was coming fourth, and I was coming third, I was coming fourth. And then girls started to pop up on the radar, and I was like, I'm not really having much of a life really as a kid. So I left, but I still played sport. I was playing football, rugby, we were hockey. I played for the county for hockey. I was county volleyball.
Oh my God.
Honestly, rugby, you name it. I loved sport. But with that, I was quite cocky,
Right.
quite popular, got that kind of swagger, like I know everything in there
Yeah.
is. Yeah. I left Pensbury Grammar. It wasn't. It's Pensbury High School.
Oh my God.
with decent grades.
Yeah.
But my goal was always to go in the forces. My great grandfather was in the forces. My granddad was. My dad was. My mum was. It was just.
Wow.
It felt like it was a natural progression for me to go in that. So I went and did my A levels, and I was doing 5 A levels. Within 3 months, I was doing 1, and after 6 months, I was called in with my mum to see the head of 4, and said, "David is very, very capable of doing this. He just needs to start turning up." I wasn't turning up to lessons. It was a separate school, but in 6th form. So I just sat with all the girls in the common room all day. I didn't go to lessons. So I said I'll leave, and I got the best job I've ever had, and it was at All Sports. You won't know what this is.
Right.
This is a sports store like JD Sports.
Okay.
It was in the Pyramids in Birkenhead. Best ever.
Was
I was
it?
like 16, 17, getting like 50, 70 quid a week, and then going out into
You feel
Liverpool.
rich, don't you, in your first job?
Yeah, it was like I'd go out, I'd get a new shirt, I'd be out, go out at the weekend, get a meal on the way back in a big dirty kebab bag. Think of what I used to eat back then.
Oh, it's horrible, isn't it?
And I still have money left.
Yeah.
And then I worked in JD Sports, and then I joined the military.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So how long were you in the military for?
I only did 3 years.
Right.
I signed up for 9.
Yeah.
But I was just bored in this country. The best time for me was when I did a tour of Iraq.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I actually volunteered to go out there. I've been with my girlfriend, my wife now, since I was 15. We met, and she was,
really?
we were on and off a lot in the early stages. But and I told her, I said, yeah, I've been called up to go, but I was so bored in this country. I hated what I did.
You offered to go?
No, I put in. I'll go.
And how long were you there for?
4 months.
Oh my God. How do you think being in the military has like changed you, and like kind of do you think that's like defined how you take on the challenges that you face today?
Yeah, definitely. I think, as I said, I was this cocky young lad, quite popular, good at sports. Yeah, I know everything. When you're out in the desert, you realise you know nothing. Yeah, I didn't know a thing. And out there, that's where I truly grew up. You learn discipline, critical thinking, teamwork. You're thinking on your feet, especially teamwork when you're relying on the person next to you. It was a place where I thrived on. I loved it. And it was truly where I think I've got most of the fundamentals of my personality and how I've set my life up moving forward. It built the foundations for my future.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting. I did not know you were in the forces. Yeah. So what age were you when you came out?
20.
And why did you come out?
I was bored.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I just hated it. I hated it when I was in this country. It was just boring, and I'm not diagnosed, but I know I've got ADHD.
Me too. Same. Every single person that meets me. Fern had a client in the other day, and she was like, "I've just been diagnosed with ADHD, and I can spot someone from a mile off." She was like, "You." Yes, like everyone who meets me thinks I've got it.
For me, it was just, I was just hyperactive. And my mum always said that when I was in school, the teachers called her in. This is when we were in Germany, and she said, "Your son's got a gift. If we could bottle it, we'd be millionaires.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to be really careful with how he uses energy."
Yeah.
So my mum and dad pushed me into sport.
Yeah.
I think they were basically saying you need to watch because you could go down the wrong path.
Definitely.
And sports weren't for that.
Yeah. I always think that about my brain, like thinking I've got ADHD. I always say, like, if I knew how to put all my thoughts into action, I would be a billionaire by now. Knowing how to do it, can't do it.
But I've got that kind of that focus point. If I'm doing anything, it's 100%.
100%.
And it's don't cut corners, and it's why I've been successful in a lot of the things that I've done.
Totally.
So I see it as a superpower.
Definitely, I like that. We'll call it a superpower. So what did you do after you left the forces?
I joined Merseyside Police.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Doing what?
Yeah, well, you start off as a constable. Yeah, it's the first thing. So I went in there. When I came out, I had a year gap. I say that JD Sports was the best job I ever had. I think this one was. Yeah. And I was actually just became a security guard at the Pyramids in Birkenhead.
Oh wow!
And I got paid quite good money to walk around and not do a lot. So I got to know everyone there, the people behind the food, got free food. Yeah. I was getting discount in all the shops.
But it was entertaining as well.
And then I joined Merseyside Police on the 17th of December 2001.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay, so when did it all change? Because I heard you had an accident first of all, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, applied everything that I knew in the military to within the police, and I was the first police officer, one of the first police officers to get their driving course within their 2-year probationary period.
Oh, wow.
I'd had 3 commendations already in my probationary period for taking down an organised crime group. So I was very like proactive.
Wow.
And then, as you were saying, things were going really well, and it was September the 6th, 2004, and I like on motorbikes. I like to say I'm a adrenaline junkie. I do everything skydiving. I've done skydiving, scuba diving. I'm obsessed with snowboarding, downhill mountain biking, anything like I've surfed.
Anything
for me, it's any
dangerous
bungee
then?
jumping, done
Yeah.
that, anything. But I had a motorbike, and it was a Wednesday, and my partner, who was in the police, a guy called Russ Parker, and he messages and says, "You just got a message. You won't understand this, but these bricks that you had to wear a backpack to power them.
Right.
It's just this big. It's not a smartphone, and it just said, "Do you fancy going out today to Wales?" And I was like, the weather conditions really good. It was a Wednesday, not that
Yeah.
many road use. Done it a million times before. Yeah, I'll come round to yours. Give me half an hour. And now I'd just moved into my first flat. I think I was 22, 22, 23, around then. And I'd moved in with I have to say, I'm not having an affair. I get mixed up with when she's my girlfriend and when she's not a wife. So sometimes people go,
There's a line and it's like,
well, now I'm in the police, it's just Sam.
yeah.
And just moved in with her. We literally just found out we were pregnant with our first child, Josh. Not on our, because I was 22 and it was an accident, but a good accident.
Yeah, of course.
When he's been good.
Yeah.
So I set off, and as I got to Russ's, I looked at my phone, and a message just said, "Please be careful today. I've got this horrible feeling I'm not going to see you again." So I was like,
oh my God.
What? Yeah, okay. So,
that was off your girlfriend?
Yeah, that was from Sam. And then Russ's missus comes out, is Sarah, and just about to set off going, "Listen, you two, drive carefully. I don't want to visit anyone in A&E." So it was as though everyone knew what was going to happen on that day. But me.
That's honestly, I get these horrible gut feelings, and like, do you know when it was windy the other day and it was like really bad storms, there was weather warnings. My boyfriend got up to go to work and I was like, "You're not going?" And he was like, "No, I am." And I was like, "I'm telling you now, you're not leaving the house." And I had this gut feeling and I literally put up a fight. I was like, "You can't leave." And he didn't. But I'm like, imagine, like, you get like a gut feeling, like it's the weirdest
Well, Sam
thing.
always thinks she's psychic. So we've got into Wales. It's stunning weather. We've stopped off at the Ponderosa, which is a famous biker bar in Wales, and we were due to come back home. And then we saw a guy from the control room, and we were chatting away. And he said, "Do you know what? The run into Balla's stunning today, and there's something going on." So we looked at each other. Let's go. So we're going off, and Russ is about 100 meters in front of us, 75 meters, massive gap. And we go onto a sharp left-hand corner going onto the Horseshoe Pass, which is a famous road. So Russ disappears round it. So when you're driving a motorbike, you come down right the way off the power. And then as you lean into the corner, you come onto the power to ride the corner.
Yeah.
I just want to say I crashed at 22 miles an hour before anyone thinks it's speed.
Yeah, okay.
But as I've come around that corner, there was diesel and gravel on the road. So as I've come onto that power on that split second, the back end's kicked out. So it's kicked the whole back out. The one thing you should never do on a corner is brake, but my natural reaction that all the time is I jabbed that brake without me even knowing it, which then sat the bike upright and it followed its course onto the wrong side of the road, which usually wouldn't be that bad. But unfortunately for me, about 20 feet away was a 23-ton articulated lorry. Yeah.
Oh,
when they say time stands still, trust me, it does.
Can you remember it?
I remember everything.
Really?
I remember everything.
Can you remember?
I can feel it. I can smell it still. Yeah, I can remember it all. It's imprinted on me. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's gobsmacking.
Yeah. So I had the upshot from this conversation, which felt like 10 minutes, was jump from the bike. So I shifted all my weight onto the left peg and threw myself off the bike, and I landed on my back. Unfortunately, or unfortunately, it depends how you view life, I went under the back wheel of the actual cab and the front 2 wheels of the actual Arctic trailer itself. Yeah.
On your body?
Yeah.
You're joking me.
And I knew it was bad because I was wearing leathers. I watched my left leg as it went on the wheel snap it up up into my face, and then it lay the wrong direction at a 90-degree right angle next to me.
You are joking.
No.
And were you awake or were you unconscious?
No,
You were
I
awake.
wait for the whole of it. The body's an amazing thing. I had no pain whatsoever.
Well, they say this, don't they? Like when you're shot or when you're
Or
stabbed.
I was in shock. We
Because
don't
it's the adrenaline sort of
exactly.
thing.
The body's an amazing thing. I had one thought, and that was, don't panic.
Yeah.
I knew I was bleeding. I did not know how bad it was. And I just thought, don't panic, because if you do, your heart rate rises and you'll bleed out quicker. And then I started to wave because I thought no one, my bike was just disintegrated. And I just thought no one should survive this. So I'm waving and waving and waving.
Was your friend
He'd gone ahead.
So did he know? Did he hear
He
that
then
happen?
no. He later told me, a lot later, told me that he'd gone ahead, turned around, hadn't seen it, and when he was coming back, he could see all cars piled up and everything, and his heart sank, and then he saw me on the floor.
Oh my God!
I'm a massive believer in fate, and as we go through this podcast, you'll see the woman behind me was an off-duty paramedic. So she must
in the middle of the mountains in Wales.
She saved my life, because what I didn't know
was
my lower part of my left leg below the knee had completely severed.
Oh my
God. It only had a couple of veins attached to it.
I was gonna say, like, your main arteries there.
No, gone. Well. Yeah, femoral artery gone.
That had gone.
Yeah, snapped, completely severed.
Oh my God.
This part of my leg here below my knee was no longer here. It was at the side, and it had 3 veins that were going into it. The only reason why I kept it, because I'd sports my whole life. I just made the Great Britain team to go to Germany in kickboxing. So my blood supply was that good. I completely degloved the leg, which means there was no skin.
No skin.
I lost 3/4 of the calf. I shortened my Achilles tendon. I broke my kneecap on my right leg in 6 places, completely shattered everything.
Oh my word! Like, no, there's not many people that have survived something like that.
But I still had sense of humour.
Yeah.
So the ambulance, it felt like eternity, but the ambulance crew turned up. And like, he comes down and he says, I'm just going to give you some, take some gas and air. I was like, oh yeah, I'm not loving the stuff as you do. And he goes, I'm just going to have to cut your boot off. And I went, they cost me 500 quid. And he goes, well, they're worth 250 now. And I said, I am going to bill you for them. Like, and then, I knew it was serious. It was that they were looking at each other, and I heard them say likely to prove, and that means I'm not going to make it to the hospital. I'm going to die.
Wow.
So,
what did you feel in that moment, like seeing everyone rush around you, and like the faces and everything? What was going through your head?
I need to stay alive to see my wife, to see Sam and my child.
Oh, yeah.
But it's hard looking back then, seeing exactly what the thing is. But you can imagine I could just smell petrol. I could feel the coldness of the asphalt on the floor. And what was quite weird, it wasn't weird, is because the road was going to be closed, and if it's likely to prove, it's going to be closed for
a long time,
a very long time. And if I had passed away, that's shut for thing. Cars were still trying to get past me, so I had cars going past my head here. I took my helmet off at scene. People were telling me not to, but I knew from the impact it was low speed. I knew it was just my back. I'd never hit my head, so I had to take it off because I couldn't breathe with it.
Yeah,
they were going past my head like that, and Russ stopped one of the cars and said, "You can't go through."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I've got to go." And he took his car keys out the car. I said, "I'll give you these back when it's all clear."
Well, as people are so...
Well, the lorry driver wanted to move on because he was going to be late.
No, never. Yeah. No, he never. He needs to... See, I think he should be in prison.
Yeah. So it wasn't his fault, though.
But that's his fault.
I know.
Are you human? I beeped. I came in here and I was really crying earlier. I beeped this woman because she pulled over. She indicated to pull over to the left, and then I went to overtake her like another car, and then she pulled off, and so we were in the middle of the road, so I beeped, and then I realised it was an old lady, and I felt so bad, and I started crying. I was like, I can't believe I'm going to ruin her confidence on the roads. How could you literally run a man over and then want to go?
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's like,
this is just what I got told at a later date. So yeah,
wow.
So I was sat there for a turn, like waiting for him to turn up. They'd strapped all my legs in, they got me ready, and then the air ambulance landed into the field adjacent to us. So I was picked up, and this always makes you laugh. Just before, because they were Russ and this woman, I do not know her name. I wish I did. Yeah. We'll call her Helen for now. We're talking to me non-stop, talking about everything I was doing, keeping me awake.
Do you feel like in that moment, like, can you remember feeling like, oh, I know what they're trying to do and trying to keep me awake?
Not really, no.
You're just in the talk
I think because everything's happened. But as we were going, I said, Russ, can you get her number for me? And he went, Dave, you got a girlfriend? And I was like,
Not for that reason.
And I was like, no, because I want to say thank you. Yeah, I'm sat there, legs hanging off, blood everywhere, about to die.
I'll take you home next week.
Joey, how you do? Give me a number. I'll give you a call. Like, you know what I mean, Ross? Come on, get a grip. So then I was loaded into the back of an air ambulance. So they put you into the back, pitch black, and then my head pops up.
Was it night time?
No. Oh. But you go into the tail where it is. So as they put you in it first time and shut it, that isn't open, so it's completely pitch black.
Oh my
And then
God.
you get pulled through into the cockpit type area, and then you've got the onboard paramedic. So
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and he just goes, "You okay?" I was like, "I've had better days." And then he goes, "I'm going to give you something for the pain." I said, "I'm not in any pain." He says, "I think you're in shock." And then he says, "You've been in a helicopter before?" And I said, "No, I haven't." He went, "It was a bit of an extreme way to get in one." I said, "No, yeah." I said, "But it's weird because when I was in the forces, I worked in a helicopter tri-service training base. So my house at the back was helicopters, and I worked there for like 2 years, and I'd never been in one." And then he gave me an injection, and then this black, and I was placed in an induced coma.
Oh my God.
I was airlifted straight to Glenclwyd Hospital, the closest hospital, where I underwent a 14-hour life-saving operation.
14 hour?
I was 30 seconds away from dying.
Oh my God.
So then I always go on to say, imagine that helicopter was on the job. Imagine the pilot.
Paramedic
or the
as well
paramedic was there,
behind you,
or the pilot had gone on the toilet or gone to the phone. I wouldn't be here now. If that woman wasn't behind me, I wouldn't be here now. Everything
happened for a reason.
Stay alive type thing.
God, I can't imagine what your girlfriend was feeling when she got that call.
Yeah. Well, she was on the ward, and 2 police officers walked down, and she went to. We were talking about this the other week, and she just said to her, Beth, "What's Dave done now? Sorry, I didn't swear.
Oh no, you can swear.
She wouldn't have sworn. That's the problem, though. That's what I was saying. She goes, "What's Dave done? I'll kill him." That's what she said. But the thing was, the 2 officers or the sergeants who came, they knew me really well.
Right.
They were devastated when they were telling her, and apparently she was rushed to. She goes, "Well, I've got a couple of patients. Do you want me?" She'd gone into a little bit of shock, I think, and she said, "I said what?" And she said she was blue lighted to Glenclwyd, but on the way she kind of stopped of not eating, so she got some food and went there. But
that'd be me probably. Yeah.
I think, but again, she's probably in a bit of what's he done now. And
you wouldn't expect it to be that serious, would you?
Because whilst I was in the police, she always used to come down. Because one time I was chasing someone over these fences, this big police car chase. You can't do anything. It was amazing. And he got out and he was running, so I was like quick. So as I was catching him. As I went past one police car, he opened his car door on me, and I hit the car door at full speed. He shuts the door. I get up, I run, I jump over an alligator, and as I'm about to grab him, I go, "Yeah, I'm going to lie down here." My shoulder completely dislocated.
Oh my God.
So I'd go in, and she'd come down, and I'm there, and then there's a couple of other times I was taking it to the hospital. What's he done now? And So I was in an induced coma. I had 38 blood transfusions. At one point, they were putting blood in, it was just coming out.
Oh my God.
So that was I was 30 seconds away from completely not being here. I was in induced coma for 7 days. But as I said, my leg injury is horrific. I had no skin. I had nothing holding my leg together. So it would have flopped off. So I had to have 6 external pins. 3. I've got the points still there that drove into my femur, and then they went into the 3 into the radius. As you can see, this is just a compression aware.
Oh my! Do you have to wear that every day?
I never used to, but I do now. But that goes up to there. So I've a course of a calf.
So is that skin graft?
That's all skin grafting.
Wow.
So I had all the skin grafts been taken from my upper part of my thigh.
Yeah.
And but I never used to wear this. But what happens is, because I've only got a quarter of a calf, I don't have that lymphatic drainage system.
Yeah.
So if I'm on my feet all day, my leg goes quite big. And I was never bothered, but then my wife being what she goes, "Well, that'll end up leading to ulcers when you're older." Like, okay, I'll wear one.
Yeah.
But I actually feel better for it as well.
Isn't it amazing that the doctors can do that? Like, just take the skin from there and just save your leg like that.
I'll talk about that. Horrific.
It's just amazing.
So, I've got that. They had to X-wire my right knee. Apparently it's really hard to break your knee. So I thought I'd do it in 6 places because I'm the best, aren't I?
Yeah, easy for you. Yeah, light work.
And I was in induced coma for 7 days. They tried to bring me down on day 6. This is obviously what I was told, but apparently I was in too much pain. So they put me back under. I don't remember. And then day 7, they brought me round. And it's not like what you see in the movies and that, where they go, "Oh, yeah." The first thing I remember is being held down by nurses and doctors. because apparently one of the things that can happen, I'm intubated. You come round, you don't know what's going on, and you're trying to remove something that's out your mouth.
Yeah,
Now, if I was to
sort
rip
of.
that out, you rip your lungs out, you die.
Yeah.
So I was being held down. I just remember them feeding it out, and eventually they were like, "Come on, Dave, come on, breathe." Like, and I couldn't. You do it autonomous, but this machine had been
Yes, you
had
didn't
been
know how to do it.
keeping me alive and breathing for me, and it felt age. And then eventually I took this big breath, and I don't really remember much else about it. Apparently, I was being sick, and my mum said like I had one of those upside down bowler hats that are cardboard that they give you. So I was thrown. I don't really remember much else about. So then I had to be transported by conventional ambulance from Glenclwyd to Wiston for lower leg repair. They're one of the specialists for burns and also skin grafting. But there was a massive delay in going. Now I was on what was called a PCA, so it's a patient controlled analgesia, and I had morphine.
Yeah.
So if I was in pain, I could hit it it locks out, so you can't overdose. What was happening to me, because we were so delayed, I was dreaming I was waking up in surgery, and I just kept pressing it, and I kept pressing it, and it locked out. After it came out, kept pressing it. It just happened. I was there. I thought I could see them drilling into my bones. I was panicking.
Like hallucination almost.
Not. It was like I was sleeping and I'd wake up and are we there yet? We're not even gone. Okay, go back. And I think I was just, without me thinking, doing it all the time. When I got to Wiston Hospital, unfortunately, I had morphine psychosis. So morphine psychosis, horrific paranoia, anxiety, and hallucinations as real as we are in here. You can't tell.
Really?
And the first thing,
that's one of my scariest things, is hallucinating.
Oh, yeah. So the first thing I saw is there was two nurses at the end of the bed checking me in, and I physically saw them say, "Have you heard what he's in for? Yeah, motorbike. Yeah, he did it himself. Said, what a waste of a bed." And just go, I know, think of all the other people who could have it, and he's out there speeding. Look at him, he's a little hooligan. How do we get rid of him? And the other one goes, well, we've poisoned people's food before, we'll do that.
And that was in your head?
Yeah. They were probably saying, I said, Dave, that's not what I saw. I physically, as real as we are, what's coming out of your mouth, that's what I saw. No. So I just withdrew. I'm not having this. But I didn't know where I was. I thought I thought they were trying to turn me into a cyborg or a robot. And I think that comes down to the surgery with the pins and everything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There was another one where I was sat in bed and my mum had just visited me, and she walked out, and there was something to do with a terrorist or. Next thing, all the alarms go off in the hospital. The doors get smashed open. Armed gunmen come in, masked up. They put my mum's head on the pillow, look at me, shoot her in the head, blood sprays. I'm screaming, and then all the nurses and that, and the doctors coming in, and there's nothing there. It's like. I don't even know what I want to say this.
Oh my god!
Sam would be next to me, and I'm like, "Will you still love me?" And she's going, "What are you on about? Will you still love me?" I said, "Why?" I said, "I've got no penis." And how I kind of relate back to that now is I had to be put into a catheter because I had, So I don't know whether
it relates.
I thought they'd removed it because I didn't know I was in hospital. I didn't know I didn't know anything at the moment. There were other ones, and then there were funnier ones. There was a guy opposite us, and his wife came in, and she was carrying this pizza. Now I wasn't eating; I was refusing kind of food and stuff, and and I looked, and I was like, I went, "Oh, it smells great, mate. What's that?" And he went, "Oh, it's a Domino's pizza. Obviously, other pizzas establishments are available." And I said, "Well, what is it?" And he goes, "Oh, it's a Hawaiian." I said, "With pineapple on it?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Some people don't like pineapple on pizza. They don't mind it. I'm not." He goes, "Do you want some?" I said, "No." We had this full blown conversation. There was no wife. There was no pizza. He was just stood there going, "What?" Like literally. There was loads of others. But the final straw came when I was rocking in my bed, and Sam came in. She's my girlfriend still at this point. And my mum came in, and they said, "Oh, we're back in." I said, "Why? You don't have to visit me every day, you know." And they said, "Why?" I said, "It must be costing you a fortune." And they were like, "We just go through the tunnel." I said, "There isn't a tunnel to Canada." I thought I'd been sectioned within a mental institute in Canada.
Really?
So concerns for my mental health started to got, and the doctor came, and I had this one moment of clarity, and I just said, "Take me off everything."
Yeah.
And he went, "We can't. You'll be in too much pain." I said, "I'd rather face the pain. I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm doing." He said, "You're in hospital." I said, "But I'm in a mental hospital." Obviously, they have to listen to you.
Yeah.
So they took me on everything, and it was like 3 days later, I woke up, and that fog had lifted, and I suddenly realised I was in a hospital. Still a bit.
You're like clearer.
And I was looking around. And I was looking around, I was like, what? And then I looked down. So obviously I was in bed. I had a white sheet over me. but it's like a tent because of the 6 poles.
Yeah, of course.
My leg's constantly bleeding. It's dressed, but there's blood all over the sheets. I look at my right leg; it's completely in a cast, and then I look to my body weight, and I'd gone from probably 78 kilograms, 79 kilograms. So you're talking 12 and a half down to 8.
8 kilograms.
8. I'd be dead if it was 8
I
kilograms.
was going to say, surely not.
No, I'd say which was about 8 pounds, I think, is the heart.
Oh my God.
No, I'd gone from that, which is about 12 and a half down to 8 stone.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so skin and bones, and it was like, what the hell's happening? And then bits started to come in. The nurse who came in, and I was like, I need to speak to my girlfriend. So they got my phone out. I couldn't remember what the code was.
Oh my God.
And I was just panicking because I didn't know what was. I hadn't realised that I'd been in a motorbike accident. I just knew I was in hospital. I'm hooked up to all sorts. You know, I was constantly having blood transfusions, and I was just like, I don't know. And then I remember, you do, you won't understand this. The old phones. I remember my mum and dad's home phone number.
Oh, I know my mum.
1516. You know, it was just straight away. So I typed it, and I was like on the phone to my mum. She's like, "Okay, we're gonna come and see you now. We're not too far. We've been down there for quite a few weeks. We've just, we've come back for a bit." I said, "I need to speak to Sam. I need to speak to Sam. What's her number?"
Yeah.
And then I couldn't. So the nurses took it down on the phone. Then as soon as I just broke it down.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah. So am I right in saying that they told you you'd never walk again?
Yeah. They said at first they were going to amputate my leg. I think
I'm gonna say, like, how, like, the fact that you've still got your leg is incredible.
But I think my mum and Sam said if you do that, it'll destroy him. Sports my whole life, and it probably would have.
Well, you've got that age as well. Sporty young lad to.
So they said, well, we'll keep it and we'll see what happens, because I always remember them doing checks with it. Can you feel this? Yeah. Can you feel this? Yeah. And they were like, okay. But that, you know, I then had to go for 4 or 5 skin grafts.
Wow.
Yeah. But what was happening is, and I remember this, is I was listed nil by mouth on the Monday. So I went from, as soon as I woke up, you having a bit of something to drink all day. I then got cancelled because an emergency come in. So then you've got like an hour at midnight to eat something. That happened every day until Friday nearly. Wow. So I was getting worse. And then I remember one of the sisters.
That's mad.
Because just people come in, then one of the sisters and the doctor come around and said, we're going to try and get it down today. And she just went, no, he is going down today because otherwise he's not going to be able to be operated on. He's deteriorating. And as they walked off, he goes, okay, we'll get him on the first list. I turned around, the sister went, they think they run the place, but it's us. And I went down for the first one. What I think is quite lucky is skin grafts are only accepted to your thing 70% of the time, every single one. I was in a mobile. I didn't see the outside, the window was behind me. I just saw this, and it was like 2 months in. I was told that, you know, the chances of you ever walking will be remote, but if you do, you will always have a walking stick, a stroller, or a. I
was going to say, like, when you walked in here today, you don't even have a limp.
No.
Like, you'd expect after hearing that you'd have a bit of a.
You can't tell I've got it unless I've got shorts on, which I don't care. Yeah. But if I sprint, you can, because I don't have that full dynamics, but it's not stopped me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was like the first thing I had to do was pick my leg up off there, but that pathway was gone, and it was forever. I was just sitting there, and I was just trying, and I was just trying, and I'm just trying, and I can't. And it was quite late at night, and eventually I went like this. Oh. And I went, yeah. The nurse come in and gave me a bit of a telling off for waking her up, but I don't think they realised that for me was the first step to trying to get back up.
That's the biggest step.
So once I did that, the two women came down who were physiotherapists, and they said, right, we're going to try and get you up and try and get you mobile. Before I even got up, one of the nurses, I became really quite good friends with the nurses. They always sat on my bed talking to me because I was in a ward that was full of old people.
Right.
So a lot of the lads, when they came to visit, were like, bed baths today, yeah. Most degrading thing I've ever been through. Because you're talking really well with them and that, and your next, they're going to go to the toilet, they're wiping your bum for you, you're all screaming.
Yeah.
It's like, it was the most degrading thing I've ever been through.
Yeah.
And this one nurse, and I've been in her 2 months and not seeing the outside or anything, she could see my mental health was starting to go down because I was just getting low. So she just went, unclip. I was on a special bed because I couldn't move. It moves, stopped me getting pressure sores and stuff. So the usher unclipped it. She wheeled me. We shouldn't do. Wheeled me to a fire exit, opened the fire exit door, and said, I'm going to leave you here for 10 minutes. And I sat there and just cried. So just having that wind that on
just
your face,
the fresh air.
And it just gave me that boost back in. Anyway, once I did that with the leg, the two women came down who were physiotherapists, and they sat me up, and I just remember feeling really embarrassed. I passed out. My blood pressure was that poor. It took nearly a week to be able to sit up without passing out.
Oh my God.
Horrendous, So eventually we got to the end, and I got them to put my leg down. My cast's been taken off by this time. Pins are still there. and we're practicing stand up. And eventually I'm there, and I'm on a like a stroller, like a Zimmer frame, we'll just call it that.
Yeah.
And I'm going up down the ward, and like you get to know everyone who've been there ages. I'm going, Bob, I'm doing it. This whole guy, keep going, David, I'm doing it. I'm like going up and down, like constantly practice it. And I think we're about 3.5 months in now, and then I had to do stairs. So, but I still had all the things in, but I could manage to have enough strength to go up.
Yeah.
So then I was discharged to go to Arrow Park Hospital, where I thought I would go down for surgery.
Yeah.
I'd have my pins all taken out. You know, this was all still fresh, but I'd go for surgery. I'd have my all my ligaments, because I've got no ligaments whatsoever. I'd have them all reattached, my ACL and everything. Yeah, couldn't have been further from the truth.
Wow.
Unfortunately for me, because my leg had been straight for so long, scar tissue had grown into the joint. That scar tissue is like stretching the leather. It just doesn't happen. So the first time we go there, and they come. This is going to go on for ages. Podcast, but I'm telling stuff I've told anyone.
We love it. It's fine.
So I go and sit. I'm sat there in the hospital, and they go, yes. So the surgeon's here to take your pins out. I said, brilliant. But he'll be here in a minute. Am I not going downstairs? No, you stay there. Okay.
No.
Okay. But where the pins were infected, because you could see the green. So I was like, okay. So he comes over, and literally everyone's there. They have all the nurses, all other doctors, healthcare assistants, cleaners, because they've never seen anything like it.
Oh,
so I'm like,
God.
Great. And there's I can't remember, is it Naime? I can't remember his name. I don't want to say it in case you get the wrong person. But he was there, and he had his number 2. He said, okay, Dave, we're going to do this now. And I'm like,
the pins while you were awake?
Yeah. So I was like, okay. And I had this pillow there. And he goes in, and it's like literally like a tool set that they get out, and he sticks it on the pin. They took the adjoining one out, which didn't hurt, and then he went, and it was this motorbike crunch, and I grab it and I scream, there's tears coming down, and he goes, stop, and he goes, have you had any pain medication? I said no. He went ballistic.
Well, I can imagine.
So then he gave me
barbaric.
Oromorph. I had that off my head. You can do what you want.
Yeah.
Then he stops the guy and goes, I'll do it. He's been through enough. He was tightening it. Yeah. Me being me, off my head, I went to him, do you not learn lefty loosey, righty tighty in medical school?
Yeah, you learned that in primary school.
So I was discharged. I was doing work with the physios at Clatterbridge, and we got like 5 degrees in movement. I paid to see a top private specialist in Wigan, orthopedics. Went in, and he was quite sympathetic. I completely get what you're going through. He said, you won't get any movement in that ever again.
Wow.
He said, the only way you will, if you want to get back to that life, because I didn't want to be, as stupid say, I didn't want to be that dad at school who was there in a wheelchair or in crutches, a young dad. I wanted to be active, whether it was a girl or a boy, we didn't know. Yeah. I wanted to be there. That's my life. It's sport. So I went pay, and he went, the only way you'll get that life is if we amputate your leg below the knee to give you the best chance of prosthetic. Or then he said, or we can put a steel rod in to fuse it straight, which I've never understood.
No.
But I was like, no.
Yeah, you can't get movement. We'll make it even straighter.
So walked outside, burst into tears. Sam's with us. We stopped off at the OK Diner in Liverpool on the way back. I remember that. And we were just talking about what can we do. So I did the rehab myself.
Wow.
Yeah, I spent...
Well, you made it move yourself?
It was brutal. Yeah. I just, no one was... The NHS had kind of not given up on me. They couldn't get any further. So I'd be sitting on chairs, a bit like, the normal chair you'd have at home. Yeah. My leg would be up in the air, and we'd made this special made sling, and Sam would be putting tiny amounts of weight on, because we had to remember, because people go, why don't you just go to a gym with a leg press and drop it, because it'll shatter the femur.
Yeah.
So you had to be, and it was there, and I'd sit there for, say, like 2 hours in absolute agony. Tears coming down there, I'd down my thing, just in pain, just enduring it, and then she'd take it off, and I'd trying to stand up and put my leg, and it was just brutal, the pain. And as you can see now, I got it to the point where I can get it to 95 to 100 degrees. Wow. I can run, I can walk, I snowboard. It hasn't impacted my life at all.
So you've got your leg to that point on your own.
Yeah. I'm a wife.
That is honestly mind-blowing, Dave. That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I was back within 8 months. I was in the papers and stuff, but it was more... I was getting picked up. I was going in because I was told that you will never go on half pay. You'll never go on half pay. And at 6 months, I was put on half pay.
Wow.
So I just thought, we've got a flat to pay for. I need to be not on half pay.
Yeah.
So I was going in, but my boss is he's amazing. He's one of my close friends still. He followed me all the way through the police cliff bar. We're still really close. Absolutely love the guy. So he'd pick me up, and then I heard they wanted to kind of pension me off. He went to bat for me. Then I was like, oh, this is all right, this. Love rugby, played rugby at a decent level. And I was like...
Oh, that was like the worst thing to do.
I started playing rugby. And again, I just changed how I used to play because I didn't have that speed anymore.
How did your girlfriend like cope with that? Because I feel like I would be literally on edge. Like, you cannot play rugby when you've just nearly not
My
been
wife
able to
says, "Don't get a motorbike." I did. She kind of knows that she'll say something, and then she always.
Do
But she
more.
knows. For me to learn, I have to get something wrong.
Just a massive.
But no,
thing
but she'll
wrong.
say no, and I'm like, okay, yeah, and I'll just do it.
Yeah,
anyway.
totally.
But, yeah,
Sure.
we've got our relationship now. It's like but so no, so I started back playing rugby. But what I really, really loved is combat sport. That's what I was really good. I've done everything: Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, K1. You know, everything. I love it.
Yeah.
But what I was really good at was the kickboxing side of stuff.
Okay.
So I went back to my gym and I said, listen, I just want to be involved. And he says, well, what do you want to start to teach the kids? And I love youth development. I love youth sport. I always have done. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'd love to. So that's what I was doing. And then one of the guys in the gym was having a fight. So I ended up sparring with him for a while. And I just found by changing the way I thought and changing the way I thought, I was actually still really good. And then the coach comes to us and he says, I think you should start fighting again.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, but then you have to face that fear. And for me, it was that fear of losing, getting knocked out in front of people, being embarrassed.
Yeah.
But if we don't face our fears, then
you never improve.
Never improve. And if you don't take a risk, the biggest risk in life is not taking one. So I said, okay, won 4 or 5 fights locally, then fought for the ISKA Northern title in Leeds, walking down the rain, getting threats of I'm going to get shot in the car park if I win. So you beat their fighter, and I still celebrated in front of them.
Oh my god!
So I hadn't lost that cockiness too much.
Yeah.
And then I won the Welsh title, which I felt was quite apt because I was like, well, I nearly died in Wales. Yeah. The people of Wales give me their blood. It's like, maybe if Wales were doing well in rugby, I support Wales. I don't know. Yeah. So I won my first major title there. Then I won the combined English and British title as well, which was quite nice because my lad was about 4 then. And he came. It was a bit like Karate Kid at the beginning. Yeah. So there's so many fighters. There's massive way, and you get through. And eventually you fight in the final. Yeah. So I won that, and then I got a phone call from the British team.
Oh my god!
We want you to try out for the World Championships. This is 2008. So this is 4 years since being told that's it. Yeah.
So that's not that long after not be like, that's crazy.
So he said we want you to come and try out to fight in Italy in Pisa as part of the Great Britain team to try and be the world champion. So for me, this was like me putting the universe back right. In 2004, I had that opportunity and it was taken away from me. Yeah. And me being relentless in everything I do, that's what I did. So just before the final, I was like, right, put it on. I got myself so psyched up. I need to fight now. Getting ready. Yeah, there's a delay.
Oh my god.
Now, so I've gone from up here, that massive adrenaline dump, and I was like, oh my god. And then I managed to get myself back up into it, and I did the walk in, and then I spent 3 rounds just teeing off on him. And then put my hand up, I sat there and I just burst into tears. Really? Yeah, my coach came in and I hugged him. But I think it was a lot of emotion for everything that I'd been through, everything I'd sacrificed, what had happened to me to get to this point, to become the pinnacle of your sport in that category at the time. And it was just get home, massive party, like with all the family and everything. I'm now a sponsored fighter. I'm in magazines. I've been booked to do seminars and stuff. So then I'm like, cause you've got, so I was like, oh, brilliant. I said, I've also got to train for next year. And the mood just changed. Everyone had gone. And honestly, she tore strips. I had a daughter at this point. So I think she must have been like 18 months. Josh is like 5. Yeah. 4, sorry. She's had to bring them up for 6 months. Didn't say a word. Yeah, and when I should fight, no one sees me. Because that's my personality. I'm relentless in everything I do. I'm not going to go out there and make the numbers. So I'll do everything I can to try and win. Yeah. I said, what else have you got to prove? And do you know what? She was right. I had kids bringing up. I had to dedicate my whole life. I was still playing rugby. Yeah. I could have played quite high level, but I saw the value of playing within the police. Yeah. All the bosses were playing and then I was being asked to go and play, but I didn't. I was still playing football. I was doing all this. So we're fast forward. I've been in the tactical unit. I was headhunted to go in that, and that was a unit back then where if something needs sorting, we'd be sent in. Yeah. Plain clothes, we had tracker, we had all these different things, and I thrived in this. My reputation went through the roof, not just here in the police, on the streets as well. So I actually famed for putting the price of drugs up. Oh, so we were taking out all the drug dealers from Liverpool, like literally with all the methods, and the fact is because they had to start paying the drug dealers more money, so they passed that on to their customers. And I always remember this guy Jones. I pulled him over. He goes, "Hey Bolton, I have to pay more fucking money because of you." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It used to be £10 a bag, it's 15 now." I'm like, Do you know what I mean?
Sorry.
But then I could write a book on. We worked with the Serious Organised Crime Agency with our unit, so they are our version of the FBI. The whole thing. I ended up being at sea and running most jobs.
Right.
And at one point, I thought, why am I doing this for free? So I went through promotion process and got promoted. And then I went out to patrol, which is response 999 calls in Prescott over in Knowsley. I was there for 3 months, and then a job came up for a new serious organised crime covert unit. A bespoke, never been ran before. And basically, I got asked. Mark Harrison was a chief inspector whilst I was in the TAC team. Loved me, loved my ethic, loved my relentlessness, and that. Came up to me, and he's the chief super now of that area.
Okay.
You're going for it. So I went for it, went for a proper interview, and it was a big thing for me to go from being on the streets, being involved, to being sat behind a desk, because that is not me.
Yeah.
So I nearly didn't go for it, but I'm so glad I did. I'd be up at 5, I'd kiss the kids good morning. I'd be in for 6, get my head around all the intel, to then brief my team at 8 o'clock, and then crack on for the rest of the day. And I would never get off. It was 9, 10. I had my own overtime budget. I didn't even put half of it in.
Yeah.
And that's why they loved me, because I was relentless.
You just wanted to work.
I loved it. Now, it's May 2014. It's May the 1st. And my daughter's birthday is May the 2nd. So I come on to parade. And I'm also, the single point of contact for any of the bordering forces. So Manchester Police, GMP, Lancashire Police, Headloo, Cheshire. Yeah. If any of our nominals, I'm saying that nice way, so basically they are criminal, or I'll say any of our shit are active in other areas, they contact me. Unfortunately, that happens all the time. So I'm on parade. I said, listen, it's my daughter's birthday tomorrow. I've never been off on time. It's her 6th birthday. If something comes in today, can someone take it off my hands?
Yeah.
Don't because I will be back in first thing tomorrow, so I can clean whatever it was up, because I am getting off on time tomorrow. I have to. So everything goes true to form. There's a firearms discharge or burglary gone wrong in Manchester, and it's our nominals who are involved. So there's a critical incident declared, and they're following it. They lose the vehicle, but it's still a critical incident, and it hasn't come back into our area. We know that due to camera replacements and stuff. So I'm on the phone trying to get authorization for a hard stop for our armed response vehicles. That means they can get out and they can pull their weapons out and they can potentially use lethal force. It's not like in America where you can shoot first then ask for afterwards. You've got to get this authorization, else you're in a lot of shit. Couldn't get hold of it, and then my colleague Joe goes, Sarge, I've done this before. You get yourself home. And she had, and I trust her. She's that kind of person who works with you. You give her something, she's going to get it done. Yeah. Do that. So I go home. It's about 10:30. Sam goes, "You're right." I said, "Yeah, just a massively stressful day." But I love stress. I'm at my calmest when everything's going off around me.
That's me.
I operate.
I just
operate. I'm like, because I was saying, like, stress and pressure bursts water pipes, cracks pipes. But the same stress and same pressure also forms diamonds. So why don't you be a diamond? So she goes, okay. So I got into bed, and then I came round at 11:30 being worked on by paramedics.
You did?
Yeah. I'd suffered a 15-minute grand mal nocturnal seizure. Yeah.
From that day of work? Yeah. On your daughter's birthday, was it?
No, so it was. We'd never say it's on the 2nd. It was on the 1st. Yeah.
Oh my God.
My first reaction was, get out. What are you doing in my house? Get out. Because I woke up and I was groggy. Sam, who's a nurse, is now stood at the side of me, crying.
Your girlfriend's a nurse?
Yeah. Well, she's a wife now. This is like 2014. We were married in 2007. My daughter was born in 2008. Yeah, so when I was fighting in the world, she was actually one. Anyway. So yeah, and she's crying. She goes, "You think I would have phoned the ambulance? You'd stop breathing." I was like, "No, I wasn't. Come on, get out." But the paramedics are amazing. The ambulance crew are amazing. And they're like, "All right, Dave, no worries. They take some details." Okay, what do you do for a living? I'm in the police. Where'd you work? Don't know.
Really?
What's your surname?
You'd forgotten?
Don't know. What's your date of birth? Don't know. Where'd you live?
Shit.
Don't know. So I was like, there's something wrong. And then I noticed a load of blood on my pillow.
Could you remember this? Did you realise there was something wrong at that point?
I was like, what's going on? Because when you wake up, you're groggy and someone's there. And I'm not really getting to the fact, because she was like, you'd stop breathing. I'm like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, like as if.
There's just all these yellow coats in the room. I'm like, no, get out. Because you just wake up groggy. You haven't got your senses. That's all I'm going to say. And then there was blood on my pillow and I bit the back corner of my tongue off. And then I noticed this searing pain, and this shoulder was completely dislocated down here. So I knew there was something wrong then. So then what I am so grateful for is that my kids didn't wake up during it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I obviously got rushed to Arrow Park Hospital in Resus, where they thought I had bacterial or meningitis, because I was completely littered in spots, covered them. But Sam being a nurse and I was in Resus was going, if he was at this stage now, he'd be in a coma.
Yeah.
So I was put into isolation. I was all day in hospital getting tests, bloods, and still not really understanding I had a seizure. I was like, I want to discharge myself.
Had you remembered anything at that point?
Yeah, no, stuff come because I suddenly got my phone out. I had a works phone in my pocket and I was going through contacts trying to remember stuff.
Yeah.
And it was slowly stuff started to come back because they say when you have a seizure, it's like running a marathon. And I believe I'm very lucky because a seizure over 5 minutes starves the brain from oxygen. I went for 15 minutes.
What?
Yeah, so I believe I'm very lucky because I've got no side effects from that. So we're in there, test all day. I'm saying, it's mate, it was stunning the weather. I'm discharging myself. No, you're not. No, you're not. My wife's going through all these things. My mum's in there saying it's the microwaves, it's the TV that was in beside your TV in your bedroom, all this sort of stuff. And then I went down for a CT scan, came back up and had to go back down again with contrast dye iodine round. Come back. I don't remember this, but apparently all the family there and we'd sang happy birthday to my daughter and that. I don't remember that at all.
Oh my God.
All I kind of remember is I remember my mum being there and my mother-in-law. I don't remember who else was there. And then the consultant came in and she had a team with her and she says, we've got your results. Do you want me to deliver them here? I went, no, clear the room. I knew they're bad instantly. So she comes in and me and Sam are sat there and she goes, unfortunately, on your scan, we've discovered a large mass in your glioma of your brain. We're not a specialist hospital. We believe you've got a brain tumour.
Oh my God.
So, but it doesn't happen to you. It happens in movies.
Yeah.
So I was just in shock going, nah, this isn't happening.
Yeah.
This isn't real. Nah, you've got it wrong. And then I looked at Sam, she's crying, and then it just hit me.
You're like, shit.
It just went, yeah. So we're not a specialist hospital, but we've liaised with Bolton Neurological.
Was this Arrow Park, did you say?
This is Arrow Park, yeah. So I'm in a side ward. I'm supposed to be isolated, but everyone was allowed in. And what is funny is the force put out this big email to say the Detective Sergeant Bolton has potentially got bacterial meningitis. So you can only contract it if you kiss me, right? Half of the police, the CSOs, community supporters, all went off.
Did they?
Yeah. I was like,
You're like,
I don't remember. But anyway, so they're dealing with this, and I was just like, and they said, it was stunning. So we don't want to keep you in. So they put me on.
Did they tell you anything else?
No, because they're not a specialist hospital.
Oh my God.
So they said we believe we've seen from the scans there's a large mass in the front hemisphere of your brain. We're not a specialist. We've liaised with Bolton, and they believe it is.
Right.
But I need to go over to Bolton for it's a 3-ton. There's different types of MRIs. They've got one of the strongest one. So they put me on dexamethasone steroids, and what they're on they're to control the swelling.
Right.
And then I was put on Keppra, it's called, is the brand name, but Levotrace and anti-seizure tablets, and sent home with not a lot else. The bad thing is it was a bank holiday weekend, so I didn't have my appointment until the Tuesday.
Right.
Also, all I thought was, so I worked the Everton Tottenham Hotspur game. I was a sergeant in charge of the riot. It's a PSU, but it's basically a riot team. But it's not people, people come from all over. People who want overtime. But I knew this one lad, Jim. So he's an Everton fan, but we had so much banter. 3 months later, he had a stroke. He got a brain tumour and he died within 3 months.
Oh my God.
That's all I thought was going to happen to me.
Is that just the first thing you thought?
That's all. Well, that's all I knew of brain tumours. I said it's like I'm on death row.
Death row, yeah.
You're trying to keep your life normal, not to worry the kids, not to let them know too much, to let them know something. Because we had to tell them something because I'd gone from never being at home to I'm going to be at home. My life changed instantly overnight.
Yeah.
I couldn't drive. My wife checked on me every second. There was times when I was in bed and she'd be staring at me. I said, yeah, I'm still alive. It gets to Tuesday. We drive into Bolton and I go and see my team. We're sat in the waiting room with everyone else. You see people going in and crying. I walked in and I said, and I told them that story and I said, I feel like I've just walked the Green Mile. Walking into here, I'm sat here, I'm waiting for the governor to ring him. Is there anything you can do? And he said, no, there is. And so they span the screen round and it was a large tennis ball sized white mass in the front.
Really?
Yeah. And they said,
how can that fit? Like, that's crazy.
And I kind of always said I didn't have any side effects. But looking back, I did.
So I was going to say this.
It happened once. I was at a petrol station in Bedmonton with Sam and I went to go and put petrol in the car and I got this weird feel of chemical. I can't explain it unless someone has it. It was chemical and I suddenly thought, I don't know what I'm doing. So I was looking, I was like, so I put it back. I opened the car and I was like, coughed. I was like, I don't know what's going on. You're going to have to put it in the drive. Sat there, didn't think of it. And then what was happening, every time I would do not every time, but sometimes I would do a big breathing. I'd get that wave of chemical feeling. So I'd cough for 15 seconds and I go, sorry, I got something stuck in my throat.
Because you just didn't know what you were doing.
They were seizures. Yeah, they were seizures having. And I've spoke to the GP and he said, I thought it was anxiety. I've never suffered with anxiety in my life.
Yeah.
So I would have thought it was anxiety. But no, basically, apparently, when it was getting inflamed with stress, because stress produces cortisol, cortisol's an inflammatory.
Yeah.
It was pushing on my vocal cortex of the brain, so I couldn't
Oh
speak.
my God.
Yeah. I only knew that a lot later on when
That's crazy.
So yeah, so he said, yeah, there is something we can do. It's white. So how they said it is, we know it's low grade, which is 1 to 2. What he did say is, no neurosurgeon worth their salt will ever call a brain tumor benign in the brain. Because it's not a tumour like anyway. You can't cut pieces of your brain out.
No.
Like a grade 1 can be just as impactful as a grade 4, depending where it's pressing on. So he said, because it's white, it means that the dye's gone in and it's holding it. If it's black, it means that the tumour's that malignant and metastasized, it spreads. So I had this big white mass. I said, okay, we'll get it sorted. And I was sent home.
And that was it?
With nothing.
That's all you got told? That's crazy.
We'll be in touch. So try and get a thing. You've got this thing in your head that potentially could kill you and you have no plan.
Oh, I'd be so I would.
I actually...
How to get it out.
I actually went back to work.
But to be fair,
I was driven. I couldn't drive. Straight away. You can't drive after a year of seizure. So my wife dropped me off. I went to Wallasey police station. I logged on. I phoned up my team and I was looking at the screen. I don't know what you do. Just put the phone down. Got Cliffy to take me home. Never went back to work again.
Really?
Never went back.
That was it?
That was me done. So yeah, and then what happened? So we go into, Sam was constantly on to him and I was just getting stressed and it was constant. And eventually we got I was just saying to Pesta and she just kept hounding the secretary. And eventually we got a date and it was a bit of relief. But those 6 weeks were the worst 6 weeks.
I can imagine.
Because you can fill your time up in the day when you're alone in bed at night with your own thoughts. It's a prison.
I can imagine.
And what I was doing, I wasn't even bothered that I potentially was going to die. It was like, but if you do, you're not going to walk your daughter down the aisle. You're not going to see your lad get married. Your wife's going to be a widow. She's going to have to sell the house. There's going to be debt. It's going to be, look what you've done to this family. So instead of sitting there and wait, it's like when you know you've got to get up at 6 a.m. and you're like, I've got to go to sleep because you don't. I just got up and I did 1 or 2 things. I did, and back then I wasn't good at it. DIY.
Right.
So Sam would come down, I'd have a door off in painting it. I even wallpapered a feature wall with the wallpaper running the wrong way because it looked better. Or I'd go for a run and I wasn't supposed to, I wasn't loud.
Yeah.
But me being me, and it's stupid saying this now, I didn't want I didn't want my kids to see me being weak.
Yeah.
So that run, 3 mile, 5K, that's all it was me where I got my shit together.
Yeah.
So I would run for the first mile, cry my eyes out. Why me? And I tell this all the time, and it's true. I used to see dog walkers all the time. Now, I used to think with no understanding or context why I'm running. You see this big bloke running, crying, go, why me? Surely they must have been thinking, if you don't like running, mate, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
It's just that bit of context. And then the second I make sure, and I come back in, right, you've got your game on, let's do this. And then there was one morning, Sam goes, why are you getting a shower at like 5 a.m? I said, I'm just hot. And she went, you mean you've been for a run to clear up your stuff? But she kind of, I sat down and said, I need to do this, which we did. Anyway, we surgery date comes in. We watch my sister do the tunnel 10K, and then we drive to Liverpool. And we've never been so silent on that drive.
Really?
Yeah,
I can imagine.
Just terrified. So we go in.
Is that the date of your surgery?
What's that? No, I can't actually remember what the date of the surgery was.
Right.
It was 6 weeks later. I will be able to find out. It's just drove in, got checked in. Sam stays with us, and then but obviously Professor Elgin is Professor Elgin, so he comes up with the anaesthetist, and he's very, very matter of fact. Yeah, just to let you know where yours is located, there's a 75% chance that you may not make this, but if you do, you aneurysms, bleed on the brains, infections, strokes.
So he's very matter of fact.
But also where yours is where your high level of thinking is, and also where your personality is. So if you make this, you may come back as someone different. You won't know. Have a good sleep. But then me being me, he drew an arrow on the back of my head.
Yeah.
And I said, what have you drawn? He said, it's an arrow. Obviously, I'm quite quick-witted, I think. And I said, well, why have you done that? Well, I need to know where to operate. And I said, considering you're the best neurosurgeon in the country, I don't think I'm quite confident. Can I have a substitution? Obviously, he didn't take that one. He was like, well, I can't. No, it's a joke.
Yeah, he didn't.
And his sis was laughing his head off. So he goes and Now, I like being put to sleep. I've had that to it. I was terrified. I didn't sleep that night. I wrote letters to my wife's kid,
Oh
my
my
mum, the
God.
kids, my mum. I wrote them on sort and I locked them in the thing. I got wheeled down to surgery and I cried the whole way down.
I
I
bet.
was terrified. I didn't think I was going to make it after what I got told, everything. I
Yeah.
got put into, got
Did they
taken.
say like that you had to have this removed? Because
Yeah.
I know some people like live
Yeah.
with it,
Well,
don't they?
no, no, you had to.
Yeah, it
It
had
was
to come
growing.
out.
I was having
Right.
seizures. It was being controlled. It couldn't stay in there.
It just had to.
Listen, I know everything about brain tumors. There's 130. I know everything inside out about them. Some you can leave in, some you can't. It's this. Let's just get it out because it's growing
Yeah.
very slowly,
Yeah.
but it's growing.
It's growing.
So I'm sat there and waiting, and there was, I'm used to surgery. There was three of everyone. There's three anaesthetists, three this. So I'm sat in there, and one of the anaesthetists leans over, looks me up and down, goes, "Does he need something?" I don't know what he said. The other one looks me up and down, goes, "I think he might make this, so he doesn't need it." And the other one goes, "Are you all right? You've gone grey." He said, "Do you want a pre-med?" And I said, "What's that?" He just relaxed. I said, "Well, how about you put me to sleep and then you can have these conversations about me over me." I
Yeah.
said, "Okay." And then he put me to sleep. I was terrified. I needn't have worried. I was up speaking after 3 hours. I was discharged within 3 days.
Really? Oh, that's amazing.
So that was gone. I was up on the ward, obviously.
Wow.
I'm just going to say they're amazing. Professor Elders comes up and Nan's there now, and she goes, "Oh my God, you're so amazing!" Hugs him, and he's like this.
Not a hugger.
So then he said it went really well. We got most of it out. And then I went in for the histology for it.
And what's that?
Sorry. So they take a biopsy and it gets sent away, histology, pathology, and it determines what the grade is, what the methylation is.
Okay.
So it came back, and for me, it was an astrocytoma, diffuse 2. So with that, I was given a 5-year life prognosis. So I was like, I want to know everything.
It had been taken out.
Yeah. And I said, well, how? Because there was a small piece that they didn't know where they left it. I think they got like 99% out of it. So there's this one little bit in it. I said, I don't understand how I die then. And I was told that over time it will mutate into something deadly, and that's the end of you. Okay, yeah. So I chose to retire from the police. I wanted to do something different with my life. No treatment plan, but I was on 3 monthly scans all the time. So I kind of was researching stuff as you do, all these different supplements. So if I read something that a supplement got rid of cancer, I took it.
Yeah.
At one point, I had an A4 piece of paper this long.
Right.
Horrendous.
Trying everything.
But what I did, I went back to, I became a strength and conditioning coach, using all my experience before. I had the qualifications. I knew someone who allowed me to go and do extra qualifications. Should have paid a fortune, but didn't. And it's not who you know, it's what you know in that world. Ended up working at a strength and conditioning gym, working with England rugby in the community. I was working with football players.
Was this straight after the surgery?
Not straight after. It was a good 4 or 5 months after. But I was straight onto it. I rehabbed myself. Wasn't allowed to do weights because of pressure. So I trained as a professional calisthenic coach with my friend Chris Thomas, and we ended up traveling the country teaching people.
Oh my God.
So I was loving life, doing really well. I'd done rehab with the Stoke ladies team, I was coaching, I was combat sport and rugby specialised. So I was working with like some of the guys that were all rugby, getting them in the shape of their life, UFC stars.
And through all of this, you weren't like battling with your own head. Like, how were you able to decompartmentalize to be able to like do all of these things while also knowing you've got this thing that's a ticking time bomb in your head?
I think I'm just relentless in what I believe. I don't think I believed that was going to happen.
I just
thought, let's just crack on. I wouldn't say it was denial.
You're just like, I'm not going to let it.
Yeah, I'm not going to let it, and I'll do everything I can. So I was taking supplementation, I was doing exercise and stuff, because exercise actually inhibits cancer growth up to 60%. Whereas radiotherapy in certain cases can be up to 2%.
Wow.
And I was doing all this, and then I was having regular 3 monthly checks all the time. It was like, yeah, actually, it could be scar tissue, it could be, we're not too sure. And Anna Croft, and I know she doesn't mind me saying this, actually said to me, you do realise that nutrition exercise has no part to play in your cancer, but if it allows you to feel as though you've got a handle on it, please keep doing it.
Right.
2 to 3 scans later, I think you've got a point. So they actually started the first trial with a ketogenic diet alongside glioblastomas and treatment. But I only had an astrocytoma 2, grade 2, so it was like, I can't go on it. At my next scan, I walked in, And Professor Eldridge was sat there, and my heart sank.
Oh my God, okay.
And I sat down, and he span the screen round. He said, "Unfortunately, this is your scan." And there was a walnut-sized black mass on the
Oh my
midline of my
God.
brain. Nothing to do with the astrocyte.
Oh.
So it was a second one. I believe I'm quite lucky that I was having scans, and I go into it. So
Yeah.
I stand there and I'm shouting at them. I'm not doing. You can fuck off. I'm not doing radio. I'm not doing chemo. I think it was a lot of frustration
Yeah.
going on because you said I had 5 years and a second one's appeared. What are you going on about?
Yeah.
And it was all that. And he just went, We're not even thinking about that at the moment. Let's get you into surgery." I was in surgery that week.
Really?
6 weeks before, straight in. So I went down this time at Bolton. The same.
Was it the same thing? It spread?
No.
Totally
It was a
different?
completely different one.
Oh my God.
It hadn't mutated. It was a separate in a different area on the midline. This was in the front hemisphere. Was it on the right hand side? This was on the midline, straddling
my
the middle
God.
the midline. So again, into surgery, going down. So booked in, laughing. You know, I'm documenting stuff. I'm putting it on. X. I said, "Oh, X marking the spot. He's digging for treasure." So I get wheeled down. The same porter wheels me down, which is weird. So I'm in there, go there. All went wrong in surgery.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
why?
all went wrong. When they did the craniotomy, where they cut into the skull, that walnut-sized mass in 2 weeks had doubled and nearly trebled in size. That's how aggressive
In
it was.
2 weeks?
2 weeks, yeah. So it all went wrong in surgery. So they obviously go to an MDT, they look at it, they discuss what they're going to do, they get a plan of what they're going to do, they've got the images there and they're there. When they go in, that's not what they see.
Oh my God.
But I had Professor Eldridge.
Yeah.
So, surgery went a lot longer. My executive assistant, Debbie, ahead of the game, has known me since 13. Her brother's my best friend. She just said she was panicking, waiting for that. There's nothing, there's no post for my sister.
Yeah.
Like what my sister and my family had to go through, waiting for that, not knowing anything. And then I remember coming around in the high dependency unit, and then being told, like, I didn't get told, and I was like, "Where am I?" "Well, you were in the intensive care, you were in the high dependency." And there was a nurse, Una, and I still speak to her now. I knew her before it from the first one. And she was there again. So I was like, and the ward sister is a girl called Chrissy, Irish girl. I was introduced for her and she looked after me so well. Even, unreal. And I run into her randomly every so often. She's my little Irish angel, I call her. So she goes, and they took all my stuff out, and one of them's into your blood gases where your artery is. She goes, "I need to get something." She goes, "Don't move." But me went, "Oh, I thought I'll help her." So I started moving. The next thing, just blood spraying over. And I was just shouting, "Una, I'm bleeding out." Then I was back on that bed. I couldn't get on top of the pain. I was in.
Of your head?
Yeah, just brutal. And there's other things.
Like a headache or like?
Well, it was just sheer pain, sensitive to light, everything. Where it wasn't with the last one. But then what also happens is, and it happened with the first one, I put my head back and all you can hear is like a drip.
In your head?
In my head. So where that cavity of where that tumour is, it's filling up with a natural liquid, and it's just so it's like having a tap dripping when you're trying to go to sleep, and it's just going. And I could hear it. I said, "Is this permanent?" And they said, 90% of the time it isn't. I'm like, but then I got to bits where I'll do this, and it goes swish. So I'll be sat there swish.
No, it wouldn't.
And then I got told, "You may rupture the capsule. Stop doing that." It did clear over time.
Just like
yeah. So and then you get quite friendly with people, and there's got high gold decks, and we're still mates now, and we're laughing with each other and stuff. But it was quite a hard time, and I always remember him saying, "I knew it wasn't good." So Anna Crofton comes in. Sam's with us just by chance. She goes, "We've got your histology, your pathology. Do you want to come and see it? Do you want to come and take you into the family room to talk about it?" "Yeah, of course you can." So we go in, we sit there, and Anna's sat there, and I'm looking at her, and she's got a couple of, and I just put my hand on her knee and went, "It's a glioblastoma. I've got 12 hours to live. Anything you say is a bonus, isn't it?" And she went, "Yeah, it's a glioblastoma. Yeah, it is. If you want to know what stats are."
Is that different to this one?
Yeah, completely different.
Oh my God.
So a glioblastoma, it's a glioblastoma, IDH1 wild type. It's the world's most aggressive, deadliest tumour. The biggest killer of all cancers. God. That and pancreatic cancer. So I said to her, so I went, "What's the normal?" And the norm, and I am using inverted commas here, is what they say is, it's 12 months with treatment, 18 months without. And she goes, "Do you want to know what it is?" And I said, "It's the usual." "No. Mine's that aggressive that it was 6 months with treatment or 3 months without." Obviously.
3 months without
treatment. So basically I was classed as terminal. So
oh my God.
Went back into the ward and I was just a different person. And I was dead, like, just didn't speak to her. And they were like, "You all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, leave me to it." Just trying to get my head around it. And then it was like, head around it. And I went home and I was like, do I spend the next 6 months going through chemotherapy to die, or do I spend the next 3 months living the best life I can? I went home and I slipped into a clinical depression.
Really?
I've never been depressed before. I sat on the couch and I was just waiting to die. I just didn't care. I was eating crap. I just didn't give a crap about the world. I'm kind of, when I say I do talks, I say, you know, like time-lapse cinematography, where that one thing's stationary and everything else is going on. That was my life.
You were just there.
Yeah, and then Sam comes to see me. She says that we went on a bike ride the week before. I don't remember that at all. She says, I just wanted to spark some hope back into you. And she comes to me,
Because you just given up.
Yeah, no, I'd given up. I was waiting to die. I didn't care I was going to die. That's the thing. I didn't fear it. I don't fear it now. Just didn't care. Didn't care about anything. Just sat there. Just sat there and foot on the couch. Just watching. Didn't go to bed properly. Just sat there all night. That's me done.
Wow.
So she goes, we're going for a run. And I slapped in her face. I'm not going for a run. No, you're going for... No, I'm not. Come on, sport's been your life. Let's go. I don't care.
Wow.
I do not have a life. What are you nagging at for? And for all the blokes out there, women are always right.
Yeah.
So I end up going on this run. And I'm not long out of surgery anyway, so it wouldn't have been... But I've never felt so horrific. Like, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I stopped about 6 times. I always say it was a 5K. It probably wasn't. It's probably so much shorter. Stopped and Sam beat me. So I knew there was something seriously wrong, because she's never beaten me at anything. I can say that because she's not here. But that night, and this is what I'm talking about, exercise, you know, inhibits cancer, but it's really good for mental health as well. That night, I slept a little bit better. I felt a tiny little bit better. Now, if I hadn't been on this run, I wouldn't be here today. The next morning, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm downstairs. I'm crying my eyes out, pitch black, just crying my eyes out in floods. And I suddenly get this watershed moment, and I go, "What are you doing?
What am I doing?
What are you doing? You said you're going to come away and live the best life you can, but you've sat here and had a pity party about the cards that life's dealt you, you know, with the accident and all this. What are you going to do?" And I just suddenly, right, if 6 months is the average, I've never been average at anything. Now, I didn't think I was going to survive, so I treated it as like a fight. I called it Terry. He was my opponent, and I put myself in a camp.
Really?
Yeah. And I got the diet right, exercise, supplementation, alternative therapies, you know, mindfulness. I started doing yoga. I basically put myself in a camp to fight. He was my opponent, and I visualized him as my opponent, Terry.
Wow.
And then I accepted conventional treatment. I went into it.
For chemo, was it?
Yeah, which was brutal. I started 2015 September, I think it was. I started dual radiotherapy and chemotherapy. So I started at Clatterbridge Hospital. I'm just going to say, where we live, we are so lucky to have the specialist hospitals, you know, what around us, whether it's Broad Green, the Clatterbridges, Bolton, unreal. I've used most of them, so I can say that.
Yeah, you tested them all.
Yeah. So I started at Clatterbridge on the Wirral.
When you woke up that morning, when you've had this like light switch moment, was Sam just like, "Oh my God, okay, he's back"?
Yeah. I've never really asked her.
Really?
No. I'll ask her when I get home.
Yeah, ask her and let me know.
Yeah. I will do, yeah. I think there was relief there.
Yeah, totally.
To watch someone you love who's so positive, so driven in life, just give up on life.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I couldn't. If it was the other way around, I'd be just devastated.
Yeah, 100%.
I've never thought that.
Yeah. She must have just...
I've always thought about what happened when she had to watch me, because people go, "What was the seizure like?" Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. She had to watch someone she loves
go through it.
Yeah. It chokes me up a little bit thinking about it.
Horrendous, yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
It's hard.
No, were we there?
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah. So when it started at Clatterbridge, so I would have, first of all, you have to get your mask made, your mould. Horrific.
Wow.
So you're lying there, you're going in to this place, you know you're about to go through horrific treatment. And they make a mask and you put like straws there, and it's just
a mask of your face?
Yeah. You're bolted down to the machine. You can't move. So they make a mask. So then you've got your mask, and then you went into Clatterbridge in the radio. You get to know all the staff and everything. And then I would take my chemotherapy, which was temozolomide, 150 milligrams, half the normal dose, 20 minutes before I would have radiotherapy.
Right.
So then you'd go in to have radiotherapy, you'd come out, and it's a progressive kind of treatment. It gets worse and worse and worse. It's hard to get across to people what it's like unless you've had it.
Yeah.
You go in as one person, you come out as someone completely different.
Yeah.
My kid, obviously I wasn't driving, so my wife was off at work, so she'd take me. We had no one, so they'd come. So at one point, I asked if my children could come in because they were terrified, and I could show them it's not that scary.
Yeah.
And I was blogging at that point, and it was called The Unwinnable Fight, and it was out there, and I was getting messages from people all over saying thank you for telling me what's going on. Like my son, my daughter won't, or whoever it is, or others saying, I'm really worried, but you're shedding light. Also stuff I'd wrote about the prison being my bed. Thank you. That's what,
Yeah.
And at one point, I stopped writing that age ago, but at one point it had been read 860,000 times
Wow.
around 48 countries around the world.
Oh my
It's like
God.
mental, and
That
just by
is
me being
mental.
quite open and honest about what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And obviously with the glioblastoma thing, they go, don't look on the internet, don't research it. What do you do? And it was death. And actually, what I've got, the stats are only 25% of people make a year. 17%, this is global population, 17% of people will make it to 2 years. To get to 5 years is 5%. To get to where I am now, 9 years, about to go into 10, it's 2%. And when I hit that, and when I do hit it, I'll be 1% of the world's population surviving with it. Yeah, that's the stats. So there was nothing. I took myself off all the brain tumor support groups because it was low, like so and so died. You can't be around negativity when you go in. You've got
No.
to try and there was nothing, and it was just lost. And then I found a woman in America called Cheryl Proyles, and she'd been living it for 10, 11 years.
Really?
That was my spark of hope. There is someone else out there. So I reached out to her and said, this is what I've got. And we were back and forward and everything. And I started to kind of put those processes in and stuff. And like one of the things I'd been doing a lot of research about was cannabis oil. So I asked her, you taking it? She goes, I don't like it, but I take a little bit, something's better than everything. I've done all the research, the fact we've got an endocannabinoid system, and there's a guy called Rick Simpson in America who came up with a method that you can cure terminal cancer if, it's a theory.
Yeah.
So, and I started doing all this. So we're going into radio. I digress. We're going into radiotherapy, and it's progressively getting worse. I've been blogging about it, and they go, "You're doing really well." I'm still laughing and joking. I lost all my hair. It got to my last week, and I was working for Under Armour, and I ended up getting VIP tickets to the England World Cup in 2015 down at Twickenham for the game England versus Wales. So me and my wife went down. We were staying in Kensington. It was amazing. England lost. England only ever lost twice at Twickenham at that point to Wales twice, and I'd been there for one of them. But it was an amazing experience. But Sam says she should have seen signs. I was being sick quite a bit, which is fine.
Right.
But apparently I was hyper-focusing and just talking non-stop. So I go for the next day. I go for chemotherapy and radiotherapy. I've never felt so ill.
Really?
I mean, I felt horrific. I was frazzled, and I got home, and obviously Sam's off luckily, and I went up to bed, and I lay in bed, and I was just like, and I had one negative thought.
Really?
And basically, what it is I had a cut on my I used to get cuts on my leg in the police, and because I got no feeling, and I didn't know it, and I always got cellulitis poisoning.
Right.
So we were changing the sheets that morning, and there was a dry blood stain all over my thing, and I was like, "Oh my God, what happens if I had a cut there? I'd have been infected," type thing. Anyway, got into bed and lay there, and I go, "God, what happens if I did get an infection?" And that suddenly everything started to spiral.
Yeah.
So I tried to do some meditation, not that I'm good at it. And the next thing, this force was pushing me onto the bed. It was like I was being pulled into the bed. Boom, and I ended up having a full psychological mental breakdown.
Really?
Yeah, I was outside the house spinning around. I thought I'd been sent down from the universe to cleanse the world. I thought I could shapeshift, I could stop time. We were in a close at this point when I was living in Sorgamasi at this point, and a car pulled into the close, and I thought I've got 20, I still have, I've got amazing eyesight. So I ran up to this car thinking it was my mate Carl, banging on the window. It wasn't. He hits it into reverse. I'm like, so Sam lies me down on the grass, but all I can hear is this this static noise. When a TV goes, it's like,
yeah.
That's all I can. So Sam's going to me. I've called an ambulance, and I'm shouting back at her, "God, I'm glad you have!" Like scream, at her.
Oh my God.
And she's like, and then I go, "Oh, by the way, I'm doing this on purpose." And she goes, "What do you mean? Watch." And she goes, "What are you doing?" "I'm doing it on purpose. There's nothing wrong with me. Actually, watch this. I can stop my heart." But when you're saying this is what you think's real. So she's like terrified, and she's told me once, and it reminded her of when I was having a seizure, and she thought I was going to die. This is what happened.
Yeah.
So I was rushed into resus again. Do you know what? If I had a loyalty card for the NHS, I'd have a whole hospital named after me by now. I'm in resus again. But I knew it had to be bad because I was starting to come out of it, but I couldn't speak. When it come out, it all came out wrong. And there was a guy called Phil Bastow, and he's one of those people who will just come over and talk to you non-stop. He saw me, and he just looked away. And he didn't really come over. So a lot later on, he said, "You were grey. I thought you were going to die."
Oh my God.
Because I was that manic in my eyes and everything. So I'm in there, still not speaking any sense. And eventually I was taken on to a ward where I was being assessed, and I was treated horrifically. by the nurses on the ward.
Oh my
They
God.
made me feel as though I was going insane. So which made
That's
me
it.
not want to speak anymore.
Yeah,
But
it
then when I
closed
wasn't
up.
speaking, that made it worse. There was stuff like, there was a guy who had dementia. It was on a day ward, which didn't help because I'd wake up and there'd be different people. But there was this guy with severe dementia. They knew this. And he's going, and I'm trying to say stuff, and they're going, okay, Dave, okay. And then he's going, oh, my granddaughter was on the X Factor. They're all going, no way. Whose team was she? Oh, he's in show. And then they went, oh, he's got dementia, hasn't he? Even to the point where I was going,
Oh, that's horrible.
they weren't changing my sheets, and my mum was in there. Can I have some sheets changed? Do what you want. Like, the way I was treated was horrendous. But Clatterbridge sent up a guy who was a neuro-oncologist, psychologist, so a guy who deals with cancer of the brain and as a psychologist. And I didn't want to speak to him, but he was going to me, I have to meditate to get on a plane. I physically can't, because he'd heard that I was trying to do this meditation. And I just felt a bit at ease, and we got talking. It later transpired the reason why I'd had this was because they'd left me on dexamethasone steroids on too high a dose for too long. And that, with the chemo and the radio, was the perfect switch.
Oh my God.
This is how bad it was. When I was getting wheeled out, and I was like, I still couldn't get words out. And I said, can I have one? I wanted to get one of my tablets out so I could have it. So when I got picked up by my wife, and they were going, oh, really? Yeah, okay. They didn't give me it. And then they came to see me and went, your daughter's here to pick you up. And I said, what? I said, my daughter's like 7. Whatever, Dave. And it's maybe it's your girlfriend. I said, I've got a wife. Whatever. They wheeled me. And as soon as I got to that threshold, my wife was there. I just broke down. I didn't think I was ever getting out. Horrific the way I was treated. Horrific.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, what happened was I didn't want to go back home because, again, my kids weren't there when this happened. Just in case an episode happened, I went and stayed at my mum's for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah. And I loved it, actually.
Yeah. I feel like no matter how old you are, when you're in those situations, you need
waking
your
up, had a little
really.
routine, sitting there with my mum, talking, and then mates would come and take me out, and then I'd come back home, and we had this little, it was a good time, and then went back. Finished the final week of chemotherapy, rang the bell, then I had 6 weeks off, and then I had to go into full strength chemotherapy. So where I was on 150, I think I was on 390.
Jeez.
Yeah, so how it works is it's tablet. And the reason why it's tablet is because we have a blood-brain barrier. You can have it IV, but it's not as effective. I've only heard of 2 other people having it. So you have this tablet because your blood-brain barrier, if you cellulitis poisoning, you die instantly. So you have this protective barrier. There's 2 ways that you can get kind of straight to the brain. It's under your tongue, and there's two.
Oh, that's why
sublingual.
You dissolve your migraine tablets under there.
Because it goes straight in.
Oh,
because if you take a tablet, 60% gets lost in digestive.
So my mum always shouts at me because with my migraine tablets, I hate the taste of them, so I always swallow them rather than letting them dissolve. But I should let them dissolve.
You've learned something now.
Yeah. I'll let her off on that one.
Something's come good from this.
I'll tell her she was right.
So you have the tablets, and you have them for 5 days straight. So you go in, you get your bloods done, and then they send you home with them, and then you take them in the morning, and then you're on omeprazole to protect your stomach because obviously for the steroids, I was on steroids. And then I was on an antiemetic, which is an antipsychotic called cyclozine. So my last day on 5, it's about 9 o'clock at night, and I start being sick. Yeah. And I'm sick every single half hour, violently sick that I'm just covered in sweat. So in the end, I'm just naked, and I stay by the toilet every half hour, throwing it up. I'm drinking water, throwing it up, blood's coming up. 8:30, 9 o'clock the next morning, I'm like, I can't do this. Get rushed into hospital, straight in again, loads of card stamp, and then I'm put on a cyclozine drip, which is incredible. Like, I'm off my head. I don't feel that pain, but I have to stay in to get kind of my fluids back up. I'm severely dehydrated. So I go in for the second cycle. He said, right, we'll give you more. We didn't give you enough. Sorry. Exactly the same thing happens. Straight back in, all over it, come back in. Doing a bit of research, cyclozine is the cheapest antiemetic you can get.
No.
So they're obviously trying to save money, but in my head, I'm thinking, how much money is it costing for me to be in, take a bed, have all of it? Yeah. So I said, listen, I've done a bit of research. Can I have ondansetron? They're like, bit more expensive. I said, that's all I want. So I had that. Same thing happened again.
Oh my god.
So cycle 4, I'm getting weaker.
Yeah.
I'm no longer really eating that much because I've got ulcers in my mouth, all over my thing. I can't taste anything. Everything hurts. But I know food, it's now fuel. Nothing's enjoyable. So I'm drinking shakes and just trying anything to keep on. Horrendous. Cycle 4, he said, well, we've never had anyone so sick. as you before. So I said to him, it's obviously because I'm an ex-elite athlete and I'm in such good shape that you're putting poison into body, it's rejected. And he just went, keep telling yourself that. Like, so he put me on I was trialed. I was the first brain surgery person. You'll not hear me say patient. We're not patients with people.
Okay.
But we've got feelings, we've got family.
Yeah.
I've spoken to House of Commons this, I've done global symposium.
Oh, wow, okay.
I'll be the first person diagnosed with a brain tumour to trial this thing. Sam's a nurse, we got a syringe driver set up at home so I don't have to go into hospital.
Oh, wow.
But actually, it worked quite well. Me being me, cycle 5, I just wanted some normality in my life.
Yeah.
I've had nearly 2 years of in this bubble with people check on. I've lost who I was and my identity, what I was doing. So I booked to go down to the Six Nations to go and watch England versus Wales at Twickenham with a load of the lads. I went down on the last day. This is cycle 5. I'm feeling horrific on the last day of taking my tablets. My friend Nick Davis, he does know this, cancelled on me the day before.
Oh my God.
So I got my best mate Matt Roberts from school. We're still close mate. Doesn't like rugby. Do you want to come down? It's a weekend in Windsor. We're going to Twickenham. All you need is beer money.
Yeah.
I stopped taking my anti-seizure tablets because I was told if you were to have one drink, it's like having 12. Now I didn't want to get drunk. I just wanted a weekend of normality. So we went down. They messed the rooms up. We were all supposed to be in singles. So my mate Matt's. It's the first night. We have food. We go to watch the game on the Saturday, and England won. We get back to Windsor, and I feel horrific. Yeah. So I just went, listen, lads, you just go out, because what usually happens, we go back into Windsor. We know where there's a club. We're about to 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
On it, lads. And Matt goes, well, I'll come with you. And I'm like, no, but you know them. Don't go out. He goes, but he just got married to Katie, who I love, we adore. And he was in the honeymoon phase. But I want to buy you something whilst I'm down here in the morning, so don't want me to. I said, okay. So we get back into the room, and he sat next to me. He goes, you all right? I said, yeah, I just can't sleep. I come around 2 days later in Slough Hospital. I'd had 6 seizures. Honestly, if Matt hadn't been there, I wouldn't be here now. Oh my God. I've had a seizure after seizure after seizure. So he raised the alarm. He got the ambulance. Yeah. And
you've had so many people that are like angels.
The damage from that was like completely dislocated both shoulders, and I bit my tongue clean in half.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's very hazy, that time when I'm in Slough Hospital, but going to sleep with your best mate and coming around with your sister and your wife stood over you in hospital.
And is it like no time's passed for you?
Yeah, you just go to sleep, you wake up. It's like surgery. You get put to sleep, you wake up.
It's like nothing's happened.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's mad. So how have you got to like now? Like, how have you got to where you are today?
I went through cycle 6. I always say, I don't know if you know, I was really close with a guy called Tom Parker from the Wanted.
Yes. My mum actually mentioned this
Yeah,
today.
so when I started my foundation, which we'll talk about later on, we became really close. And we watched his documentary, which I was on when I met them and everything. And we were sat there, and I said, I can't believe you didn't do cycle 6. And Sam went, are you joking? I refused. I don't remember. She dragged me through it. I was skin and bones. I had ulcers. I was saying I was lying in bed, could hardly eat, everything. So obviously I did cycle 6, and then the scans kept getting better. They kept getting better. They kept getting better. They kept getting better. And I'm like, right, I'm doing something right. Started to get my fitness back and everything. And then went back to being a strength and conditioning coach.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was loving it. You know, I did 8 years doing it, and this is where I was truly starting to thrive and work with right things and get a reputation. And I just fell out of love with it.
Really?
Yeah, it's because if you think about it, I love what I do, and you know, and so I loved it. I was getting paid good money. I was doing personal, like I'm not a personal trainer. It cost a fortune for my qualification. Yeah. I was doing strength and conditioning with the people. I was just loving it. I love it. I'm a people person, watching people develop, getting people video analysis at games. Oh, I was loving it. You know, I loved everything about it. And I just thought, when you go through what I've been through and you evaluate your life and you think what it's been about, and you've had that time, tomorrow's not guaranteed for anyone, you know.
No, yeah, of course.
When you've had that accelerated and put in front, I just thought, what am I doing? I'm helping people not if they don't make the team or not get the knockout. In the grand scheme of life, it means absolutely nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
So I retrained as a cancer rehabilitation specialist coach.
Wow.
And gambled and just left that world behind me.
I love that.
And then like Sam had to go back to full time, and I was just saying, trust me. And I was for two years, I was doing stuff for free. I was putting myself out there. I was relentless in my approach. You know, I wanted to start a foundation. I didn't know how that foundation was going to transpire. Yeah. At one point, I wanted to get a foundation and raise money to give back to everyone that helped me and stuff. It's weird. I was that kind of person. If anyone in the celebrity world got a diagnosis of brain tumour, I was tagged in it. That's how I met Tom. Wow. We were like brothers. We were like speak to each other every single day. We were both in the House of Commons. I was down. I know his kids. I knew Kelsey really well. Yeah. And when he passed, I said, I'm not doing this anymore.
Really?
I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I don't want to. I can't keep doing this. So we went down to his funeral with Kelsey and the kids and everything, and really, paparazzi everywhere. And then I met his brother Lewis, who I knew him but hadn't met him. And I went to shake his hand, and I said, he goes, I know exactly who you are. He said, the day Tom met you, the day his life changed. He said, we all believe that because he met you,
Wow.
you gave him another year's worth of life.
Oh
And
my
I was just
God.
like, and on the way home, Sam went, that's why you do it.
That's so touching.
So I was only training two girls with breast cancer at my friend's gym. And then a friend of mine, I've got links with Liverpool, said, there's a guy, Dominic Matteo. He's got a brain tumour. His head's gone. Will you send stuff? So it was for him. And I remember watching Dominic Matteo in the Cop. I'm a huge Red fan.
Yeah.
So wow. He ended up reaching out to me and we became firm friends. I've been up to visit him. And I said, I'm starting this foundation. Do you want to get involved? So he became on we started as a CIC and we split board, and I said, I'm not precious. It's not me.
Yeah.
This is a legacy, really, to show my kids I've turned up to
done.
try and put a mark on the world of cancer, whatever that may be.
Of course.
So we did. So he came on board, and Tom he passed away. So I asked Kelsey if she'd come on board.
Yeah.
I said, because you've got a unique experience of living with someone with a brain tumour and watching them pass away, the grief thing.
Yeah.
And then another guy, Steve McGawley, who's a good friend of mine, he came on. And it started as a Head of Game Foundation. And I was training two women with breast cancer at my friend's gym. I had an office above a health food shop. And we launched at Coldy Golf Club.
Amazing.
I had no team at all. It was just me. Dom came down because we're using his name, so we had Robbie Fowler there. We had I know Neil Mello, who played for Liverpool, so he came down. It was a really good event, and it gave me the money. I think we raised like 26,000.
Oh my God.
And it gave me enough to be able to put someone through a course, but rent a small space and put some facility in.
Yeah.
So I've gone from this tiny little place in New Brighton. I've got a 4-story facility. We have a waiting list of over 400 people waiting to apply to be on the course. I've won awards with the National Lottery. People travel from all over the country to use our facility.
So what's different about your facility that you like? What is it about?
We provide. So
what is it?
Our facility, it's split into two. My facility is split into two. We've got Head of the Game Foundation, which is my charity, and then we have the Northwest Wellbeing Company, which is my limited company. So the Head of the Game Foundation simply provides free physical, mental, and emotional rehabilitation for anyone with a diagnosis of cancer. But me having lived it, it wasn't just my journey, it was my family's. So we also provide free, fully funded vital support for their family and their friends.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So as I was saying, exercise inhibit cancer growth by up to 60%. So what happens is people will apply to be on this course. So where Debbie's coming in and she runs my life, she's built this multifaceted website. So we've got this amazing website. You apply to be on the course, you go to a secret website. And on that secret website, you have a host of information, videos that we've done, pre-recorded mental health from professionals. We've got everything in there, resource, while they're waiting on the list to be on it. We are so governed by funds, it's unreal, because we provide everything for free. And the reason why I will say this is because when you get a diagnosis of cancer, the financial burden it places on the family is horrific.
Yeah.
You lose hours at work. Your partner has to become childcare go.
Yeah.
But then if you want to be proactive and change water, food, nutrition, take supplements and do alternative therapies, it costs a fortune. So my stance will always be that anyone with a diagnosis of cancer, when they come onto our course, will not pay for anything.
Yeah.
So we provide free yoga, free Pilates, nutrition. It's huge. And there was a point where we were running out of funds. I was like, I don't know what to do. I need to do something that's big.
Yeah.
It's pointless doing it. I want to do something that's out there. And I'm a snowboarder who hates the cold. You're going to stop laughing when I say it's because of chemotherapy. So I got neuropathy. So I literally.
So it makes it dead sensitive.
Yeah. I'm lucky because I didn't get the neuropathy where it's painful.
Right.
But I'm always cold. I hate the cold.
Right.
So she goes, why don't we do a challenge like freezing February? I went, well, maybe I could swim in the Irish Sea every single day.
I was going to say, because you do all the cold.
I do now. I love it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And that's how we started. So I started swimming. And I remember the first day, we hadn't got the new premises yet. I was renting the small place on Victor Parade in New Brighton. And Debbie's phoning me because I'd gone into work with a girl who was completely paralysed from the neck down from the age of 10. And this woman, I'm not going to mention, helped her. And I was doing a bit of strength with her. And I was getting phone calls because I put it out there on social media. This is what I'm doing. And I had Debbie go, you can't. It was gale force winds. Shut the prom off. And I said, but I said I'm going. So I'm going. So she met us down there, and it was blowing it. And there was 2 girls who were there, and I didn't realise Debbie had gone up, and it was Sam Birchart and Sarah Porter. I swim with them all the time.
Yeah.
Now we're really close friends. So we're going, and one girl turned up.
Oh my God.
And she was like there, and she was like, "Oh, it's my 40th birthday. I've always wanted to do it, and who better to do it with?" And I looked at her and I said, "I'm going to go in. Just go up to your knees."
Yeah.
I said, "Are you strong?" So I'm okay. I don't want to be responsible. So I went in. I was in, and there's videos of me going, and then, but I get out, and I am instantly frozen. I'm like shaking.
Yeah.
I can't keep warm. I'm in pain. I'm literally uncontrollably shivering, and like all day I'm cold. And then what I was doing, I doing it. I didn't miss it. I did it. I did the whole entire thing. I in 3 named storm. I was in Storm Eunice, hail. Storm. The only thing I did was like lightning. I did it at night time, and just by chance, whilst I'm floating, if the tides weren't, my life was tide. We're on the tide, but if it wasn't good, I'd go West Kirby Marine Lake, which is where I go now. And like one of the best ones is that I was laying on my back at the night time, and the International Space Station went across.
Really?
It was quite strange, even though you're cold, but. It's like if you're in the gym and you're weight training, that stimulus improves thing. It's exactly the same with the body. Your cells become adapted. The more you
do things.
So I can put myself down closer to hypothermia without having those effects. So I went from that 3 weeks in. It was all about what. So next it was like I was teaching people about the vagus nerve and what happens when you're in the water and the constriction and all that. Loved everything about it.
Yeah.
So I was coming out going, yeah, I'm fine.
You feel amazing for it. Yeah.
And it got to the end, and then everyone we had there, we had like fire pit. It was brilliant, and we raised like £1,800, which was great. What we do is every February now, I do a full all month. There's a full program of what we do, and we invite people to come down. And last year we had 60 people turn up, and 40 went in, and 10 people were there first time. But it's all safe. We have fire pits. We have that. First year we had the RNLI, and we're all watching it. And like I say,
so what do you have to do? Just a cold day?
Yeah. So what I say is,
we'll so do that.
So what I say to people is, leave your egos at the door.
Yeah.
I said, and I give a big brief, and I said, I'm going to be in there last, not because it's me, because I'm used to this.
Yeah.
It's for safety. Me and Sam Bircher will be in there last, and then we go out them. And now I say with the course, people apply, they come on, they see me, whether it's we can do it virtually, we all can do it in person. I'm currently training a girl or coaching a girl with a glioblastoma in Australia. Been with her for a year. One of my other coaches is doing another one in Australia. We've got a waiting list of people in Zimbabwe, South Africa, Canada.
No way.
But we know we are doing stuff in the UK that no one else is doing.
No, I've never heard of anything like it.
So what happens is they come onto the program. I do all the initial assessments, and I have to get. I did let one of my other ones, and this isn't me being big-headed. It really isn't. I've now become that hope where Cheryl Proyles was. When at the beginning, when I went, there is someone. I get messages on a daily basis from all over the world.
People look at you
all
and
over
I
the
can
world.
do this.
Like last Christmas, I got
amazing.
a message from a neurosurgeon in Kazakhstan saying, "I tell everyone about them. You're an inspiration." I'm in a medical textbook in America.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
that is not being big-headed.
But it's not. But it's
people
go, it's great, but it's a lot to take on.
Yeah.
Sometimes people go,
it's like a pressure.
They'll only listen to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, but what people have to understand is that my tumour is as unique to me as my fingerprint and DNA. So what works for me may not work for you.
Totally. Do you still have to have like regular scans and stuff?
Yeah. I've got my driving license back.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which is very due to basically because of the stats.
Yeah.
But the reason why I went so public is I wanted people to understand that there is another way.
Yeah.
There's another option. Most of all, there's hope. And sometimes you've got to stand back up and take control of your own situation.
Yeah, totally.
Accept your diagnosis. Never accept your prognosis. Prognosis is stats. Stats are in the past straight away.
Yeah.
And when I used to say is nowhere will it say at the end of my time that I didn't try or I failed, because pain and adversity is temporary. I remember looking back thinking I'm never going to look back. That was 10 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Quitting is forever. You just got to keep going. I wanted to inspire people not to give up when that is the easiest thing to do.
And imagine if your wife hadn't have made you go.
Again. It's fate running all through it. So yeah, so they come on the course. I do all the consultation where I bleed them out of everything, because I know people want to speak to me when they're on it, and I love it. I do free Q&As once a month, and I always go to Debbie and I can't bother doing it. And I'm on it. I love it. I'm supposed to do it now. I'm on it. I love being able to see someone down and giving up, and I've completely changed who they are.
Yeah.
And the amount of feedback that we get through.
Hope back into
so they come on, and then I video record it all, then that gets sent to one of my coaches who then has to watch the whole thing and research everything they've said. Diet, it's huge. What type of chemotherapy on the contra, everything. They then have to put a risk assessment in place. They then come in and do a functional movement screening and
Oh
testing,
my God.
which is video recorded, because you've got to get a baseline test.
Yeah.
What's the point? And then from them, they have to go off their research and go off their test and put a bespoke phase program that's going to be coach free for them.
Oh my God.
And that's it. And we've had
That's
the results we've got,
incredible.
but whilst they're on that, they also get, we've got like weekend circuits every 2 weeks at the moment. And for the circuits, it's, if someone is diagnosed with cancer and they isolate themselves, it's scientifically, it speeds up progression. And I always think, imagine being alone. I had so much support. So we have weekend circuits, and for me, the circuits are one thing. It's what happens after is where the magic happens. So it just so happens we're doing one of our first ones, and it was 5 ladies all with breast cancer. One just wanted to make friends with people, was so isolated. Another didn't even want to speak about her diagnosis. Another one didn't even want to take a wig off. And they did a circuit together, and we went downstairs. And we provide free healthy smoothies, organic smoothies, and free sugar-free refined like treats. And I sit there, and they're all talking. They're sharing tips. Because we provide a space where you can walk into our facility, and there's no judgment. It's a safe place. Because when you're going through it, you always get the head tilt. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, you look well. Oh, I can imagine what you're going through. No, you can't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish. I would never wish what I had to go through. It was horrific.
Totally.
So they come in and they just feel safe. Wigs off. They're going and walking together, all mates. That's for me. That's what I love. It's that social side of it.
Yeah.
So they get on that. They've got yoga, free yoga. We have in-house park. We provide everything for free.
Yeah.
But we also massively now I provide support for the family. So we have online sessions just for the caregivers or their family to show that they're not alone. Now we've just finished the cafe. We're launching the nutrition cafe. You want to see that place now? When you come down, you can film it and see it.
Oh, exciting!
That's where we're going to have workshops. That's where we're going to have spaces to be held. But we provide counselling, grief counselling, family support counselling, teen counselling, and what we also now provide counselling for children under the age of 7. That stemmed from my daughter doing work experience with a couple of years ago. And Debbie said, "What was it like?" And she just went, "I really wanted to ask loads of questions because I didn't know what was going on, but I could see how scared they were, so I didn't." And she bottled it up. So because of that, we've looked into that. So we now have a team called Blue Skies.
Right.
And basically, we helped launch them back in the day. There were 2 teachers got lost faith within the education system and requalified. So they come in and they're working with 2 girls who are in our facility, which we pay for, and they do sand and play therapy. And unfortunately, it's great, but 2 of them have lost their mums who were with us, and another one's died critical.
Wow.
But we are able to provide that where no one else will.
Yeah.
So we're fully encompassing, not just, and it comes from me. What did I need was I'm worst. Who did my wife?
Yeah, you're
everyone
the best
focuses.
person.
Everyone focuses on the person diagnosed. I get that, but who did my wife have? She was looking after 2 young kids.
Yeah.
Dealing with me, knowing the kids didn't really know what was going on. Josh only found out the proper seriousness of it when he was about 15.
Yeah.
It was like, because we were like, yeah, brain tumour, it's not good. Never said they're terminal, and that there's no cure for it.
Totally.
I have to live the rest of my life knowing that I may not be here. But visualization support. So I'm in a stage now where I've got no evidence of disease on a scan.
Really?
Yeah. But with a glioblastoma, there's microscopic cells that spread through the brain that you can't see on a scan. Right. But I say, how do you know they're there?
Yeah.
This is the visualization side.
Yeah.
I don't have cancer. Someone has to be first. You can't. I'm not stupid. I am realistic. I do know that I probably have, and at my next scan, but I'm going to be here in 20 years' time. I put myself in this position to surround myself with cancer.
I know.
I on days I forget I even got it because I have no side effects from it. And so everything I've been through to be sat here and be this well, it's like, and I love my life.
I love that.
I wouldn't change it. And people will look at me and like, it's incurable. I'll never hear it's a remission. I've got to live every day knowing that it may be growing. But I'm very good at compartmentalizing and thinking, that's not going to happen, is it? Yeah. And I love what I've done. I believe, what I've seen and what I've experienced and who I've met, I would never have happened. If I'd have stayed in the police, I would have missed up. I was never at home. I would have missed my family growing up. I'd have missed my kids. I've got that value of time. I see life through new eyes now. I love everything about this world. I would not swap my life with anyone. And I truly believe this is what I should have been doing all my life. Yeah.
Well, for the last little segment of the pod, we ask, it's a little section called Educating
What are you dropping on me?
No, it's just a little bit, something. But it's called Educating Erin, and it's basically for each guest to give me a little bit of advice for my life and what I can take on. So just a little bit. I literally have the worst health anxiety ever. Like, I can be told something and I give myself the diagnosis and I'm like, oh my God, that's it. I don't know what's going to happen. What advice would you give me from being on the other end of that?
One of the big things I would say is, why are you worrying about something you have no control of?
Wow.
Because when you worry, you cause stress.
Yeah.
Stress causes cortisol. Cortisol is inflammatory, and it could cause problems. Stress is one of the biggest killers.
Really?
Yeah. So why are you worrying about something that you have no control of, whether you've got it or not?
Yeah.
And that's what it's one of the things.
That's what you do.
Why am I worrying about something I can't control?
That's like, this is the best advice I've ever been given about it.
Off we go.
Amazing. There we are. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's amazing.
Oh no, I appreciate you for coming in.
No, honestly, we appreciate it.
And
it's
I'm
been
looking
amazing.
forward to hosting
I've learned
you.
a lot. Yeah.
And in fact, what will be really good for you to come down, we're going to have I haven't decided yet. We're waiting until March to open it. So we just had the conservatory, the Zen garden. It's stunning.
I've seen bits on your story.
Oh, it's even better now. We've had a soft launch next week where it's healthy bakes and stuff. We had a retreat at the weekend that someone hired out. It went amazing. We're gonna have a full-on launch. I've got quite good friends like Nagamon Chetty and stuff, so we're gonna get all the media down. Martin Kemp's gonna come up and open it.
Oh, we'll come.
Yeah, because when I won the National Lottery Award, he came up. And the whole place was filled, but no one was there to see me. Everyone fancies Martin Kemp. So. But we're going to have press, we're going to have music on there, we're going to have like food, but it's select invite for people. Amazing. So you get you down. But come before it and try the facility, try all the therapies.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm so excited to see it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much.
No, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.